Jerry Brito, what questions about the applications of this technology to financial services and payments will we be able to answer 2 years from today that we can't answer today?
So I think it has to do with, so what struck me, obviously, is this sort of tension between a permissioned and open network, or permissioned and closed networks and the more open ones, and whether we will have the regulatory sort of audacity to maybe allow the open networks, which is really where the innovation, I think, is promising, to exist. And you know, the question so far has been, you know, do you need Bitcoin or not? And to me, we need to ask ourselves the question is, why are we asking this? What does Bitcoin give you? You know, why do you want it? And I think, as Charlie said, and Matt sort of pointed out, is that the power from all of these networks really comes from the network effects, which is why, you know, R3 wants to get 40 banks together to build this. And it's not just the network effects, it's also the fact that something can be permissioned or permissionless. If something is permissionless, you're going to necessarily have greater network effects because anybody can join without asking for permission. And the only way you can have a global permissionless network is with the use of a token that incentivizes security of the network, and that's Bitcoin. So that's why you need this token. So really the innovation of something like Bitcoin and blockchain is not just a more efficient way to settle, maybe a little bit faster. It's really the fact that for the first time, you can have these networks in a way that are permissionless, the way the internet is permissionless. And permissionless just means that anybody can just get a laptop, download some software, and join the network and begin to innovate on it. And we don't know what's going to happen from this. So we've had some talk about a lot of the innovation comes from the outside. And I think what the outside means, really, is bottom-up. It's bottom-up innovation versus top-down innovation. And we have some great examples of this. You know, Charlie was saying that Bitcoin is organic. I think it absolutely is. And then the question that's still, the jury's still out on is organic innovation better than top-down? And we have examples. So if you think about the internet itself, we had competitors to the internet. The internet was not predetermined to be the internetworking standard. TCP/IP was not, you know, preordained to be the networking standard that we would all use globally. You had some other competitors, and mind you, TCP/IP is a bottom-up, open source effort that was built organically. On the other side, you had, for example, Minitel in France, which was a French national telecom system that was built as from a consortium of telecom companies and built top down. The internet wiped that away. One of the biggest competitors to the internet was the X25 standard, which was developed by the International Telecommunications Union of the UN. And it was a very complex, robust, it was kind of like the Betamax of internet working standards. But the VHS internet blew it away because it was permissionless. Right? It was not a consortium of global telecom companies, which is what X25 was. And so while there's absolutely value in improving your back office efficiency, I think ultimately when you, what the value of the blockchain is the fact that it's global and it's permissionless, and that's where the innovation is going to come. So the question then, as you've pointed out, the New York Times, or Google didn't have to ask the New York Times for permission, right? The question is, will regulators allow this potential innovation to go on impeded, not, you know, completely take their eyes off it and be completely hands off? Of course, there's a role there, and it's an important one. But the question is, do we say, no, we're just not going to allow this because we don't know who the miners are? What I see is that that's really not an option available to regulators. The network is going to continue. There are going to be miners mining in Russia, whether regulators here allow companies in the US to use it or not. And innovation is going to continue on that network. And so the question is, do regulators want to say to themselves, look, this is going to happen one way or the other? Do we want to figure out a way to really study this and figure out a way that we can steer it the right way, have good engagement, or do we just want to say, look, US companies are not going to allow to innovate using the open global blockchain. We're going to focus on these private blockchains and allow the rest of the world to take off with that open global network.